Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening everyone. So our group will present about internal auditing case study on National Malaysian Bank. Our group consists of 5 members. I am Malaysian RAMLAN, so I will start the presentation with question 1. So we start with the first scenario. Scenario is Aden Hillen's spot address matches the home address of former employee who resigned 2 months ago, indicate an internal data breach. The former employee had previously spent 2 years in the bank credit card service department processing credit card applications. The former employee also was close friends with another data entry clerk who was currently responsible for keying in changes in customers' personal details. Then the internal controls that could have prevented this data breach is strict access controls. For example, limiting access to sensitive customer data and ensuring that no single employee has the ability to make unauthorized changes without oversight from upper management. Then we move on to the internal controls that could have detected in data breach are regular audits of employee access and activities, as well as monitoring changes to customer data for any irregularity or unauthorized alteration. Next is the second scenario. The scenario was Johan ponders about the possibility that the bank's IT system has a backdoor that could have exploited to allow for an external data breach. Further, there is the possibility that an external party offer a current employee reward, financial or otherwise, to make those changes. So, the internal controls that could have prevented this data breach is robust IT security measures, such as regular security measure assessment, encryption of sensitive data, and strict access controls to prevent unauthorized access to the IT system. Lastly, the internal controls that could have detected this data breach are intrusion detection systems, real-time monitoring of system activities, and through logging and auditing of all system access and changes.
Next, we will go to the question 2. For this question, I would like to propose a few measures to prevent unauthorized access to customer data. The first preventive measure is to strengthen the bank security system to prevent unauthorized access to customer data. Enhancing the bank security is crucial to protect customer data from unauthorized access. For example, implementing stronger encryption, multi-factor authentication, and regular security checks to maintain the confidentiality of sensitive information will touch with customer and reducing the risk of cyber threats. The second one is to implement stricter policies and procedures for changing customer personal details, such as requiring physical presence and original identity documents. National Malaysian Bank should enhance its verification procedures for any changes in customer personal details, such as mailing addresses. This may involve implementing stricter identity verification processes, including in-person verification and the submission of original identity document. And the last measure is that can be taken is to conduct regular audits and checks on the credit card customer database to detect any suspicious activities. Regular audits of the credit card customer database are essential to spot any suspicious activity early. By consistently reviewing transaction records and user behaviors, this check helps detect potential fraud and authorized access swiftly, allowing quick intervention to protect customer and prevent financial losses. Next, we will go to the one who is responsible for preventive measures. The first one who is responsible for preventive measures is the bank management. The bank management has responsibility as it oversees settings and implementing robust security policies, allocating resources, and fostering a culture of security awareness. The second one is IT security team. The IT security team designs, maintains, and updates security teams, conduct regular risk assessment, and respond to potential threats to prevent unauthorized access and changes to customer data. The third one is internal auditor. Internal auditor has also responsibility in this matter, as they are directly involved with the prevention and detection of any suspicious activity such as fraud. And the last one is employees. Employees are responsible for adhering to security protocols, which ensuring the security and confidentiality of customer data and reporting any irregularity promptly.
Okay, next we will move on to question 3. The question is, what should do I propose that Adam, with the assistance of Johan and Anna, if required, should do to determine if the credit cards that were compromised have been used for fraudulent transactions? First of all, as a manager for credit card services, which is Adam should collaborate with Anna, which is an IT security manager, to gain the access and review the transaction logs related with affected customers. They're supposed to examine the transaction history for any suspicious transactions, to look for patterns such as multiple transactions in a short time frame or transaction in location that different with the customer usual spending patterns. For example, one of the customer has complained in her email that her mailing address is in Sandakan, which is she have no business dealings and never visited Sandakan before. This incident can be benchmarked for Adam and Anna to take as example in determining a suspicious transaction. Secondly, Johan, as an internal auditor, should implement real-time monitoring. Johan should team up with Adam to implement continuous monitoring mechanism by using a system that actively track and analyze transaction, user access, and system activities in real time, which can help them to identify any weak patterns to the transaction. As an internal auditor, it is Adam's duty to provide ongoing support and ensuring that the bank's credit card service adhere the best practices in security and fraud prevention. Lastly, Adam as a manager should encourage customers to report. Management should provide educational materials to customers on recognizing and reporting fraudulent activities, raise awareness about common fraud tactics, and encourage customers to stay vigilant and encourage them to support any suspicious transaction by providing clear instruction on how customers can report fraudulent activity and ensure that there is a dedicated support system in place to handle such reports.
Okay, now we will proceed with question 4. So the first measure that the National Malaysian Bank could take is to enhance and monitoring analysis. National Malaysian Bank should implement advanced fraud detection systems that can analyze transaction patterns and identify any unusual or suspicious activities associated with the affected accounts. This is because it is important to utilize machine learning algorithms to detect anomalies in spending behavior and transaction locations, enabling the bank to detect potentially fraudulent transactions for further investigation. So the second measure is for customer notification and education. National Malaysian Bank should also notify the affected customers via multiple channels, including email, phone calls, and physical mail, informing them about the unauthorized changes in their mailing addresses and potential fraudulent activities. They should provide clear guidelines to customers on how to review their recent transactions, report any suspicious activities, and take proactive measures to protect their accounts. The third one is card replacement and security enhancements. Other than that, it should proactively issue new credit cards to the affected customers with new card numbers, expiration dates, and security codes to invalidate the compromised cards and prevent unauthorized usage. They should also enhance the security features of the new credit cards, such as by implementing EMV chip technology and additional authentication measures to reduce the risk of unauthorized transactions. Moving on to the next measure is fraud alerts and transaction monitoring. National Malaysian Bank should implement real-time fraud alerts on the affected accounts, which can notify customers on any large or unusual transactions, potentially fraudulent activities, or changes to account information. This can be done by utilizing transaction monitoring tools to identify suspicious activities, enabling the bank to investigate and take immediate action to prevent further fraudulent transactions. The fifth measure is collaboration with law enforcement and regulatory authorities. The company should work closely with law enforcement agencies and regulatory authorities to report the unauthorized changes in mailing addresses and potential credit card fraud. National Malaysian Bank should provide relevant information and evidence to aid in the investigation or prosecution of individuals involved in the unauthorized address changes and fraudulent activities. Last but not least, to review of security policies and controls. National Malaysian Bank should conduct a comprehensive review of the bank security policies and controls related to customer data handling, account changes, and identify verification to identify any weaknesses or gaps that may have contributed to the unauthorized address changes. Then, the company can implement corrective actions and enhancements to strengthen security protocols, access controls, and identify verification processes to prevent similar incidents in the future.
Okay, now we are going to look at the possible consequences for companies to disclose their data breach. The first one is reputation management. Even though at first when disclosing a data breach, it can damage a company's reputation, a prompt and transparent communication can help to rebuild trust over time. Stakeholders are generally more forgiving when companies shows that they will take proper responsibility and demonstrate effort to address the issue. The second one is to mitigate or further damage. A quick disclosure will allow the company and all the affected parties to take steps to minimize the potential damage, such as in this case, for the customer, they can ask for replacement of cards and to ask for companies that either the details are correctly provided or not. And lastly is collaboration with authorities. When disclosing a breach promptly allows law enforcement agencies and also cyber security experts to investigate and respond more effectively, potentially preventing similar incidents in the future, thus reducing the damage. Moving on to the last part of this question, we will take a look at the possible consequences if company did not disclose the data breaches that happened. The first one is increased damage. Without proper disclosure, the breach may go undetected for a longer period, allowing attackers more time to exploit and compromise data. This can result in more significant financial and reputational damage in the long run. The second one is long-term reputational damage. Concealing a data breach may lead to long-term reputational damage, making it harder for the company to regain trust even after corrective action are taken later in time. And lastly, the loss of trust. If the breach is eventually discovered by the stakeholder and it becomes known that company will help those information, it can severely erode trust among customers, partners, and investors. The lack of transparency can be perceived as a breach of trust itself. That's all from our group. Thank you.